Hello and welcome to Menu Heroes Digest. You may have noticed I got a haircut, and I think it looks bad. But
Aw, come on, man, ain't that bad.
not as bad as some of the news we have today.
Yeah, it's a mad world, as the good doctor says on my shirt. But not in the fun mad, just aggravating.
The Mad Max world.
We're getting closer to that world, dude.
Yeah.
We're getting ever closer to that. That's gonna be a documentary. I swear to God. But anyway, speaking of Mad Maxian characters or dystopian characters, let's talk about Overwatch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, you made a very common mistake. It's not Overwatch, it's Overwatch 2.
Aw, silly me. How could I How could I mistake these two obviously different games?
I know, how dare you.
Yeah.
So, Overwatch at this point is about 7 years? 6,
Yeah, I think
7
it was
years
about
old.
2015 or 2016 that
Yeah.
Overwatch. Maybe it was the trailers for Overwatch came out in 2015. Then
2016 it came out for sure.
Okay, yeah, because yeah, because I do remember the memes for it, and what was it? May, she built ice walls.
Yeah.
And there were some memes of her with the MAGA hat.
Oh my god.
Back when people weren't taking it too seriously, and now it's no, May does not deserve that.
Anyway.
He deserves to be in a better. Her and Czar deserve to be a better game than Overwatch. Let's be real. And Tracer.
So, Overwatch 2's development team recently held a Reddit AMA, Ask Me Anything. And, some questions were...
Yeah.
If you'll excuse me, I gotta zoom in, I'm blind.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
So, one of the questions asked, besides what early access meant, because the game is in early access, is if Overwatch 2 would replace Overwatch's PvP or shut the game down entirely. So, they go on a long tangent about how early access just means this is the start of a lot of things coming to the game, blah blah blah, seasons 1, 2, all that stuff. That's
Pardon me, guys. Stuff up in my eyes all day.
That's fine.
Cool.
You take care of that.
That's cool.
Larger pieces of the game that have always been a part of the vision for Overwatch 2 will be released to the game as part of the live service, including the launch of the PvE campaign next year. When Overwatch 2 launches on October 4th, it will be a replacement for the current live service. Which means that Overwatch Online is basically done.
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always weird whenever stuff like that happens, but also you can only imagine the servers for these kind of games.
I mean, it makes sense to replace it. It's just it stings some people because they were originally told that the two would have a shared multiplayer environment. But on the plus side, I guess, Overwatch 2 will be free to play.
Okay.
The 6v6 setup from Overwatch will be, no more. It'll be 5v5 for Overwatch 2, but your progress will carry over to the new game.
Well, that's at least
And there will be loot boxes, so I guess,
progress. My thoughts overall on Overwatch and anything related to Activision and Blizzard has not changed a whole lot since this announcement, considering how we're not covering it in this episode, but maybe later about the investigations that Activision does to themselves. Say we couldn't find anything wrong.
Oh yeah, you saw that too.
Yeah, that was, and I was.
That's like
I might have included it on this episode, but there was already bigger stories and more aggravating things, and I'm like, I have no energy to get angry about this right now, so we will save that for another day because they will probably be in the news again later. But yeah, man, it's it's just it's always like the ideas about Overwatch always seem kind of cool. Now, yes, superheroes are kind of everywhere, but this was sort of like, I felt the characters for these could have been I felt they were unique enough to where there could have been a whole line of comics about these characters, and I would have read them.
There used to be stuff like that. They used to have more characters, and then Blizzard kind of just dropped.
Well, like, Blizzard's been dropping a lot.
Yes, Blizzard has been dropping a lot.
It ain't been the same since 2005, I can tell you that.
So,
speaking of 2005, let's bring it back to a game franchise that so far has not been ruined. So far.
yes.
And so...
Jak and Daxter.
Yes.
So, if you guys remember, and this seems unrelated, but I promise it ties in. Nintendo games are popular, especially the 64 games. Super Mario 64 has been ported to the PC, as has Ocarina. Sorry, that word still trips me up.
It's fine.
I've always said it wrong my whole life.
I think I can't remember where I first learned the word ocarina, but like I've heard a couple videos, and it's like it helped repeating that word over and over helped me to make sure. Because yeah, it is one of those words you're not entirely sure how it's said until. Actually, I think I did take music classes when I was like in either elementary or middle school.
I mean, I was in band for like the majority of my life, but ocarinas just never came in.
So maybe that was where I first heard it. I was the kid that was into the weirder instruments. You know, drums fine, yeah, flutes, whatever. But is that weird thing over there? We'll play that.
Yeah. I got a lot of hate.
Played all that well, but I
want
to try something different.
Last time I said it wrong, I got a lot of hate. Anyway, Zelda OOT is ported, and now fans are working on recompiling Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy, so that it runs as a native application on the PC. At this point, it is 80% done. It was written in a custom Lisp language developed by Naughty Dog called Goal. The team working on it is fairly small, so they've had to decompile the game into a readable code and then develop their own compiler for that code and recompile it for the correct architecture for computers. And, you know, like Super Mario 64, there are some small changes they've added. So, like, you know, controller options, physics. Well, actually, controls, physics, behaviors are identical, but they've added stuff so that it'll feel like a more modern experience, but they've also made it so that you can play it as was.
Yeah, the most I have done for modding and or emulating has been like either Mugen games or like when I tried to emulate a few Nintendo DS games to my PC. And obviously, with how the controls are with those games, you can't translate super well to a PC or into a regular computer. So the fact that these people are like figuring out ways to emulate and able to translate the stuff to where you can play on PC on their own and not with the help of any major company, because this is all fan-related stuff, that's blowing my mind right now, and I'm impressed by the love and dedication, and it clearly shows that people still love these three games. You know, I grew up with these games, and while I'm fine with like Naughty Dog doing their own things, they clearly want to do the more realistic, more down-to-earth stuff, you know, like Resistance Fall of Man, and especially The Last of Us, because like they just love to re-release that game, make it as graphically updated as possible. But yeah, it's just like they used to start off this. I feel like Jak and Daxter is a big part of like what helped them get to such notoriety and fame to begin with. So that's a really good trilogy of games.
And since we're on the topic of fans remaking games. Daggerfall Unity. So Daggerfall was the second game in the Elder Scrolls series, and for the past decade or so, fans have been working on remastering it, I guess, and they've done so in Unity. And the difference, that's before.
Yeah.
And that's after. So it still looks like a classic game, but
yeah. In terms of, best to describe it as like how looking at like original Mortal Kombat looks, and then seeing like the Ultimate or the MK trilogy, where it's slightly more updated and slightly better. I mean, it's still a little janky, but like it's still like it certainly has enhanced, and like it helps. The pictures are much clearer in that version. That's what I'm seeing with these images right here.
Yeah.
But I'm by all means, the power fandom done right can deliver us some good. And
there's a GOG cut, a GOG cut, if you will, available on GOG.com. Just search up Daggerfall Unity if you're interested. So next up, we've got the future of the internet or something. Future, hot girls, no personality. So Krafton is the publisher of PUBG, and they are working on an artificial virtual human technology. It's a very stereotypical girl,
as I said, I think
East Asian e-girl avatar created in Unreal Engine. So in February they did a technical demonstration. It showed motion capture based vivid movements, pupil movements enabled by rigging technique, stuff like that. Basically, they're not planning to just use it in their game, but in its esports demonstrations, and in the hopes of creating more virtual influencers like VTubers. So, this article goes into detail about how female coded, meaning not meaning
not
AI
having actually
coded by females.
Yeah, it's like that'd be one thing, but having that like stereotypical female AI or virtual female characters that are just docile, subservient,
the ideal,
the ideal woman, continuing those old traditions and everything, and it's just like it's not that those ideas itself are bad, but when they try to force it to be the standard, is when it really starts to become a problem. And again, maybe it would help if there were some women involved in the programming and involved in the behind the scenes, so like there can at least be a balance. There can at least like that's one version of AI you can create, but also there's some that have more of a personality or more of a free will or more of
ones that represent women better and not just as like servants.
Yeah.
I mean, I will admit I do prefer how female voices sound when it comes to voice to text and assistants. I don't use assistants a whole lot, but
I'd say for me it's like for some reason either Australian or New Zealand accents for either men or women are appealing to me, but yeah, 9 times out of 10 most people pick the standard female voice, and it's the same for me.
It does not necessarily mean that we're sexist. It might be part of it might be due to as this one person puts, cultural factors and built-in sexism. Well, not built-in, but ingrained. Ingrained's the word.
I think it's more of like we've been stuck within our minds, or like throughout osmosis, we've been trained into the idea of a motherly figure, of a female guardian coming in to helping us into our aid or comforting us.
Yeah.
That's the idea of certain women being seen, female figures being seen as beings of comfort for us. And, you know, that it's just like, again, on its own, the idea of a female character, or, you know, a woman or other being comforting or nurturing or caring is not inherently bad. But when you try to make that the standard, when you don't offer varieties of women, that's the problem.
You hear that, women? Take that from two white guys.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not the absolute experts on these kind of things, but like, I feel like it require. I think it does require guys like us to speak out to other men. You know, we're trying to be the male voice. We're trying to like help educate other men.
We're trying to help. Okay,
Yeah,
we're doing what we can.
Yeah.
So,
What
speaking
we
of
got?
trying to help, this is the complete opposite. So, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade.
Here it is, folks.
And if you'll remember earlier this week, they also overturned a New York law making guns more easy to access. You know,
That's the thing. Like, I was aware of, like, they were, again, I didn't know the full details of the other ruling.
Xander, no.
Yeah,
Go.
this time it's serious, man. We're serious now. Time to get serious. I'm sorry. Not right now. Okay. Man, it would be nice to be in his shoes, to just not have to absorb all this awful negativity and just be aware of what the future's about to come. But, yeah, just the absolute hypocrisy from the Supreme Court of saying, like, we cannot touch on the rights of gun owners and how states should regulate guns, but when it comes to regulating women and their rights, oh, take that away. Take that right away. You know, why do they even have in the first place?
I mean, you know, they're saying, oh, well, it's the same thing because we're leaving it up to the states to decide. But
the state of New York was making a decision
yeah.
to have stricter gun regulation or stricter concealed and carry laws, and the Supreme Court said no.
And see, that's the scariest thing. The Supreme Court is actively going against the wishes of the majority of America.
Yeah, but yeah.
The majority of America wants, you know, to at the very least keep gun laws in place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a slight majority want to increase the restrictions, and a majority of the nation does not want to overturn Roe versus Wade. They saw it as a settled issue.
It's been a law for nearly 50, or like that's been a ruling that's happened nearly 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, there's certainly some old folks that are happy to see this being overturned, but I guarantee there are not nearly as many people who have either been accustomed to the rule or, you know, are greatly benefit from that rule, because, like, so many states not only are against abortion, they're against birth control pills. Some of them are against female condoms. Like, do y'all want an overpopulation problem? Do y'all want, you know, like, families and, you know, single women to, like, you know, deal with the crushing weight of poverty and, like, the stress of, like, higher bills?
They do.
I mean, yes, they do. The answer is yes.
They don't
do.
care as long as they can enforce their religious beliefs. And mind you, the Bible says nothing about abortion.
No.
In fact, the Bible says that life doesn't start until they breathe.
The funny thing is, the Bible says way more about divorce than it does about abortion or same-sex, and yet divorce happens on a daily basis. From mostly heterosexual couples, mind you. They are the vast majority of people getting divorced, but yet there's none of these religious folks, none of these, like, super extreme religious folks are going after them or targeting them, because many of them have been divorced before. You know, the president that these guys worship the ground over has been divorced 3 times, yet aren't saying anything about him or about him being unchristian.
And I'm just gonna say, one of the justices said that they feel that the same thing should be done to same-sex marriage. Should be left up to the state. No.
That is...
I'm gonna just say, this is not a threat. This is not me. This is other people. If they decide to overturn and get rid of a lot of protections for the LGBT community, they're gonna regret taking away gun restrictions.
Look, I'm not advocating for any kind of violence at all, but it's like you're driving people to be more and more desperate. Housing is like the pricing for houses is at an all-time high. Gas is getting higher than ever. Food's getting higher. And again, this whole thing of forcing people to have their children to go through their pregnancy and having to take care of the child or anything, and also taking some couples away from their rights of marriage. It's like you're deliberately trying to make our generation as angry and as violent as fucking possible. So it shouldn't shock you if some of them want to fucking lash out. But of course, they don't care, or maybe some of them are secretly hoping for that, because they're also making it that another ruling that happened was if police arrest somebody without saying the Miranda rights, the police won't get in trouble. The police won't get in. Yeah, that's another ruling that happened right before the concealed carry ruling and before this Roe vs. Wade overturning. It's like
they're unraveling all our rights.
Yeah, it's again all the talk
Xander,
about rights, and it's just all of our dude. Right now, it's
just shut the door.
Just not right now.
Thank you,
man. Bud. We'll have fun later, okay?
Buster, the dog ran in.
But we're not having fun right now.
Anyway, the reason we bring this up.
Yep.
Because if I let him continue to ramble.
I know. So
anyway,
the reason this has to do with games is because the voice of progressive gaming at this point
is Bungie.
Yeah.
So Bungie wrote that the decision by the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn Roe vs. Wade cuts off millions of Americans from that access and leaves open the possibility of even further restrictions on life-saving healthcare for all of us. We remain undeterred in our commitment to stand up for reproductive choice and liberty. As a result of the ruling, the studio said it will implement a travel reimbursement program so that employees who need to access reproductive or gender-affirming healthcare, even if it's criminalized in their home state, can do so. Let's see. Others that have spoken out are Insomniac Games. We are human beings who make games. Reproductive freedom and bodily autonomy are human rights.
Speaking of Naughty Dog, I think I believe he's one of the CEOs in there, or one of the head developers in there.
So, PlayStation Studios, Naughty Dog, Sony Santa Monica, Sony San Diego, Sony Bend, Sucker Punch, and Guerrilla Games have started saying stuff. Naughty Dog said, "We will continue to uphold those values and actively support all our employees in receiving the care they need and want." Guerrilla treated that reproductive freedom and bodily autonomy are human rights. And Neil Druckmann has shared a pro-choice.
I think he was the guy that was at Summer Game Fest talking about lessons. So I'm assuming he's the guy. He's the guy in charge of Naughty Dog. But I could be completely wrong. Please, let me know how wrong I am in the comments or how right I am. I like to be proven.
We're wrong.
I can accept that. I can live with that.
Anyway, so Neil Druckmann shared a link to a pro-choice foundation in America, and he has donated.
10,000. Yeah, about
10,000. And the company,
At least
PlayStation has matched at least 50%. He might have, they matched 50%, so that was $5,000, so that's $1,500. Sony has not confirmed if it is doing a travel reimbursement. Microsoft is, EA has. I don't know if they've actually.
Again, well, it's like their first, like, we don't want to talk about it. I think they will if they're really pressured to. Surprisingly, so far I think Ubisoft said something, Bethesda said something. They've made their statements about it.
Inner Sloth, Among Us.
Oh yeah.
ArenaNet, Niantic.
Yeah.
Airship Syndicate. Heart Machine Official. That's No Moon. Team Meat.
Oh yeah, Team Meat. Yeah.
That is.
Well, Team Meat, like, if you know the creator, the Super Meat Boy and Binding of Isaac, you absolutely know he is like, I wouldn't say he's purely, like, progressive and left-leaning, but, like, he clearly has issues with the right. With his background and with his upbringing. So, like, yeah, he is ready to say F you to the Supreme Court and to the right wing. So, yeah.
Alright, so let's move on to some more
So, I know we briefly talked about Ubisoft, so he's another story about Ubisoft.
So, Ubisoft we usually talk about in a bad light because they are usually in a bad light.
They have done some bad.
The CEO will voluntarily take a pay cut of $327,000 US. This is a personal decision which he took considering that the company had not reached the financial targets that it had publicly communicated to the markets. And that's what an Ubisoft spokesperson told Axios. Now, did you want to...
Well, I was saying, we can't really prove it was because they went full in on NFT and it didn't work, but we can connect the dots.
Yeah.
But, at the very least, again, it's very much a move very similar to, like, the former CEO of Nintendo Japan, Satoru Iwata. Like, he had taken a personal pay cut twice during his run of Nintendo. And by all means, I do think that's a better option than trying to lay off employees that need their jobs, or people you need to keep working for your company to keep making product and stuff like that. Again, it doesn't completely resolve of Mr. Guillemon's history of what he's done, all the many concerns with Ubisoft that we've had in the past. But at least this, I legitimately think this is a good thing.
We give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
We do that with Elon Musk. No matter how much it kills him.
It just gotta be fair. Somebody's gotta be fair and balanced, and some people
with Chris Pratt sometimes too. Okay, so I would like to preface this by saying I think Chris Pratt is a mid-actor. At best, he's mediocre. He's good in Jurassic World, but Jurassic World isn't exactly a cinematic masterpiece. Jurassic Park wasn't a cinematic masterpiece either, so I'm not just being like, oh, the new stuff sucks. It was a fun movie, but not a cinematic masterpiece.
I'll let you finish before I give my thoughts. I'll say it right now.
Anyway, he has recently done an interview, and he has said that his Mario voice for the Mario movie will be unlike any Mario you've ever heard before. He said he's worked close with the directors and tried out a few things, and he landed on something that he's really proud of and can't wait for people to see and hear. He did this weird explanation of the difference between animated films and live action films.
He's done at least like 3 animated films.
And
let's be fair.
He's been in a bunch of live action lately.
Oh yeah. think I saw a trailer for like a new Amazon Prime series he's going to be in, The Terminal something or whatever. It looked not too different from Reacher or the Tom Clancy shows that are on Amazon Prime, so not too excited about that. But I will say, again, we're being fair here. Like, I think he's one of those actors where you have to put him in certain roles.
He doesn't excel in all, but
yeah, but it's like when he was first in Parks and Rec.
He was fun.
I love that show, and I thought he slowly became one of my favorite characters on that show. And seeing him in making, well, he's been guest appearance in other movies, like in Wanted and a few other comedies. But it was the Lego Movie, an animated film, by the way.
Oh yeah,
that he did make his breakthrough in terms of being the lead of a film, and I thought he did well.
I did.
As the average everyman,
That's where he excels at.
Yes.
As the average everyman.
Yeah.
He does do a good job as Star-Lord.
Yes, and I was gonna say, like even people who don't like superhero movies I've talked to have said they love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and they do really like Star-Lord, minus the last time in the big Avengers movies where he did the thing. I won't talk about too much.
Star-Lord's kind of a douche, but
that's not the main problem though.
oh, I know what you're talking about. Where
the moment, the big thing, but
ruined everything.
Yeah.
The movie's been out for a while.
And and I'll say, like, I did not like the last Jurassic World movie, Dominion. I thought it was nice. I also didn't like Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. And maybe because, and I try not to be like, the first movie is amazing, it's wonderful, it's one of the greatest films ever made, and everything else is terrible. I try not to be that kind of person. I grew up with that first movie. It's very near and dear to my heart and a lot of people's hearts. But I at least will have some fun with some of the sequels. And I will say, the first Jurassic World I thought was fun. I enjoyed it.
I thought Dominion was fun, but to each their own.
It was fun when it was on dinosaurs, but unfortunately the movie decided we don't want to do dinosaurs, we want to pick locusts. We want to make this locust world instead of Jurassic World.
I thought seeing dinosaurs in the rest of the domesticated world was interesting.
That was the thing they sold in the trailers, and that got me real excited. It's like, okay, this movie might not be great, but hey, seeing dinosaurs outside the island, seeing them out in the wild or in big cities, that could be fun, that could be exciting, that could make for at least for a fun popcorn movie. And the scenes where they were outside of the island or not in the lab were fine, we're good. They decided, oh, we can't do anything that's different from the other movies, so they're back in a lab, and they're on this little isolated area on top of a mountain, which ain't an island at least. But it's just like, it's not any different from the other ones. And I thought the glimpses of them doing something really different than any of the other movies were seen near the beginning, or in that section in I think Venice, in that one area where like they were like, yeah, that was the part I thought was great about that movie. But they decided, no, we're not going to do that anymore. We got to go back to what we know, which is a lab or some isolated area where the dinosaurs can be. And then I said no spoilers. I'm not gonna say no spoilers, but like,
anyway,
I'm not crazy about how it ends.
Let's move on.
I will say one more thing about Chris Pratt as Mario. His voice is probably going to be like Barley Lightfoot from Onward. Let's be real. That's what the voice is probably going to be like. He's saying like, oh, this is going to be different. This is going to not be unlike anything you know. You're probably going to do Barley. You're going to be this big... you're a small character, but you're going to have this big bombastic, like, let's go on this quest, Luigi. That's what you're going to do.
Hold on. He said it would be unlike any Mario voice they've heard before.
Okay, and that I can believe, but...
anyways.
Yeah, so that's my thoughts on that.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
So, Sonic 3, for the longest time, there were rumors that some of the music on the Genesis was written by Michael Jackson.
Yeah, there would always be like a forum, and there was always be like something Sonic related or some kind of video game related. and there'd be a forum that was about Sega that'd be like, oh, did you know that like Michael Jackson secretly helped out and made some music for Sonic 3? And we all be like, sure, fine, yeah, whatever, yeah, where's your source, or where's your proof? And it'd either probably be Wikipedia or some place that clearly, like, could easily be disproven, but,
No, the creator...
We are hearing from the horse's mouth now. We are hearing from one of the heads of...
The creator.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's one of the creators. But yeah, like, obviously, Yuji Naka, you know, whatever you think about A Ball in Wonder World and other things, yeah, he was a pivotal part of, like, the early days of Sonic.
Sorry, creator of Sonic 3 is what I meant.
Yeah. So, yeah, creator of Sonic 3 was very, very, had a tight grip on the franchise during the late 90s and onward until 2006, when he was like, I'm gone, guys, bye. You'll all deal with Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 all on your own, bye. But yeah, he has said out in interviews or, you know, in QAs that the rumor's been true.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson was involved with the music of Sonic 3.
I mean, part of it, the reason they never really acknowledged it and they've changed it in re-releases is obviously because of Jackson's scandals. And
yeah, that would have been the time that it was starting to pop up.
That was exactly the time.
Yeah.
And some of it is that he didn't like how his music sounded when it came out of the Genesis, which I'm not entirely sure how true that is, considering, you know, there was the Michael Jackson Moonwalker game.
Oh yeah.
But it's most likely it's a combination of the two.
Yeah, but as I said, it's one of those where you hear the music from the arcades. It would always be back in the 90s. Games in arcades obviously like had great sound systems or better sound systems than they did on the consoles. Because hearing the arcade music, the arcade versions of Golden Axe, its music and how the characters sound, sounds relatively really good. Then you play the Genesis version, like I grew up on, and everything is much more scratchier, and the characters sound like they're screeching everything they say. So I think there is somewhat a hint of truth, and maybe Michael Jackson did not like how it sounded when you hear it on Genesis.
I mean, I can't completely blame him for that. I can't blame him for, you know, the other things he did. But we will end on a good note. Nintendo is having an eShop sale. Woo! It goes, it's active now, and it goes until July 6th. So, here are some of the highlights. So, I lost the link. Hold on. Here we go.
Cool.
Super Mario Odyssey at 30% off.
Alright.
Assassin's Creed, the Ezio.
I keep saying Ezio
Collection.
for some reason, but yeah, it's
25% off. Link's Awakening, 30% off. Star Wars, Knight of the Old Republic, 25%.
Plural, Knights.
No, Knight. Super Mario Maker 2, 30% off. Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim, 50% off. DK Country Tropical Freeze, 30% off. Monster Hunter Rise, 49% off.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
That's such a weird number.
Yeah, I mean...
Why? What?
Elder Scrolls is 50% off. Why not Monster Hunter Rise?
Paper Mario Origami King, 30%
Origami.
off. That game was actually pretty fun. You know, doesn't return back to the roots, but...
Yeah, it's not a full RPG like I would want it to be, but it's still a good game.
It's better than Color Splash.
Yes.
Color Splash I still enjoyed, but...
What was it, like Sticker Star?
Sticker Star is just unenjoyable. Anyway, Skywalker Star. Lego Skywalker Saga, 25%.
Ooh.
Pikmin 3 Deluxe, 30%. Ooh. Persona 5 Strikers, 50%. Eastward, 20%. Dragon Quest 11S, 30%. Just Dance 2022, 60%. Astral Chain, 30%.
Buy that game, it's amazing.
And it just keeps going. I'm not reading all of these. That's just... Go check it out for yourselves on the eShop.
Yes, a lot of great stuff out there.
It's called the Big Old Super Sale.
Yeah, man, I definitely would say the Skywalker Saga is like the one I would definitely get, and I know that's one I said I would get soon. But hey, with it being cheaper is a big help.
Oh yeah.
And also, Death's Door, the best game nobody's ever played, is 35% off. So now you have no excuse. Please, please, for all that is good, with what little good there is in this world, buy Death's Door. See how amazing it is.
Shin Megami Tensei 5 is 30% off. That game's
Also
pretty
good
fun.
too. Yeah, it's good too.
Dark Souls 50% off. I know I wasn't gonna read all of these.
Doom Eternal is 67. That's not a weird number too. 67%.
67.
Go up a couple more points if you know what I'm saying.
Dragon Quest Builders is 30%. That I played a little demo of that and it wasn't too bad. Crypt of the Necrodancer, Cadence of Hyrule is 30% off.
Nice.
Get it? It's a fun game. Castlevania Advanced is 33%. Layton's Mystery Journey is 30%. I wish they had more Professor Layton games on the Switch.
Yeah.
Octopath Traveler 30% off. 80s 40% off.
It's another great. Well, that's a great one. I love that one.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps 40% off. And that's all that I care about.
Well, there's SNK Heroes or
Heroines.
Heroines, yes, where you can get the female Terry Bogard.
And that's 40%. And that
also,
is
I got an arcade stick, so I can have a lot of fun with some fighting games. You know,
Street Fighter.
I pre-ordered Capcom Fighting Collection, so hopefully by the time this video airs, I'll already have the game and be playing it. We might be playing on the channel.
Yeah,
maybe,
we'll play some on the
possibly,
channel.
Possibly, maybe.
But yeah, so thank you for tuning in. And as always, stay cool.
And be safe out there. We love you. Even though we don't know you, we hope that we can get through this.
Yeah, we will get through this one way or another.